Up YouTube, man? It's your boy Lil Icy, man. I'm back with another banger, man. And you know what I'm saying? We about to do this little 3 a.m. reaction video challenge, man. And yeah. It ain't nothing too serious, man, but we about to be watching, I guess, two videos of it. It's about 13 minutes long. So yeah, we about to see what's up with these videos, bro. We about to see, bro. We about to check it out, bro. Stop playing, bro. Stop playing. You know what I'm saying? I got this just in case. You feel me? You feel me? You never know what pop out in the dark. You feel me? It could be what you call that nigga? Frankenstein, nigga. That nigga could be in the back, nigga. You never know, nigga. Yeah, I said, well, y'all gotta keep the little tool on. But anyways, about to get straight into it. Man. And yeah, I want y'all to like, comment, subscribe, and man, pray every day, man. Stay blessed, and yeah, don't let down your guard. Always remember that, bro. It be your closest ones, bro. But yeah, stay tuned for the bangers, man. And yeah, always stay real, always stay true. Let's get into it. Let's get into this banger, man. Let's get it. Let's go. My knife, just in case, bro. Never know. Nah, it ain't that serious, y'all.
I was assigned as a security guard with the midnight shift at a very large Omaha warehouse when I was a young man. This building was mainly used for storage and it was huge. We as security personnel were tasked with hitting several stations inside this building on the night shift, and this required that we did a lot of walking. There would always be 2 personnel assigned to the warehouse at night, one patrolling the outside perimeter in a car, and one inside the warehouse on foot. Being outside, sitting in the comfort of a car was obviously the more desirable of the two.
We in the dark with
Working a Wednesday night. It was about half an hour into my shift. I would start the shifts walking around for about an hour, just surveilling the place before sitting down in one of the security offices. This room had some low-budget, ancient camera system that at the time was impressive technology, but it only had 2 screens because there were only 2 cameras in the entire warehouse, one in the northeast corner and one in the southwest corner. That's why we couldn't just sit on our butts in the security office our entire shifts and had to actually patrol the place.
Yo,
this was
what?
a shared warehouse for some tech companies, and a lot of expensive equipment was held here, hence why 2 security guards would have to be there every single night. The warehouse layout was similar to that of a regular grocery store. There were like 10 to 15 aisles, and one intersecting aisle that cuts between the other 10 to 15 in the middle. I was still making my initial rounds around the place when I saw all the way down at the end of the aisle I was in, something at the end section. It was like this white thing that kind of resembled the shape of a head, and it was poking out from behind the end section. Mind you, it was so far away that all I could make from it was this white-looking object. I elevated my slow stroll to a moderately quick speed walk, and halfway through the aisle, the white thing disappeared behind the tower of boxes. This confirmed my fear that it was a
Let me start, y'all. I ain't gonna scare y'all like that.
As I stood in the southwest corner of this giant warehouse, I looked up at the camera in the corner, and it was pointing in the direction of the thing I just saw. I looked in that direction, and there it was again, at maybe the 7th aisle, that white thing I saw earlier. Now it was a lot closer, and I could make it out to be someone's face, as I feared. But it wasn't the other security guard. It was this extremely pale, ghoulish-looking face. They once again slowly hid their face behind the tower of boxes. I walkie-talkied the other guard on duty, and he radioed back that he was in the car by the back section of the parking lot. He said roger that he'd be here in 5. Getting off the phone with him, I was nervous to approach the aisle that I saw the person's head. Even though this is exactly what a security guard's purpose and job is, you never actually expect or anticipate seeing any action. I took a deep breath and ran to that aisle and stopped at the end of it to look down it. The person wasn't in sight. figured they must have ran for it. So I ran halfway down, hoping to catch up to them. But I stopped when I smelled this horrible putrid odor. It smelled like a dead, rotting carcass. I followed the scent until it became overwhelming, and I found the source of it. It was coming from this big wooden box that was different from the rest of the boxes. I pulled the lid off the box, and inside was a dead body laying in a pool of blood.
A pool of blood?
Shocking
What the
part of it was
fuck?
that it was missing a
What
head.
the fuck?
The walkie-talkie to the other security guard again. I yelled at him to call the police and report a dead body in the warehouse. I said this all while running as fast as I could to the back exit of the warehouse, struggling to get enough air. I threw up the second I made it out the door. I ran to the other security guard's car and sat in there with him, gasping for air. He was still on the phone with the police, so I took the phone and told them whatever the other security guy didn't. Given the nature of the situation, they sent like 5 or 6 cop cars and basically had the entire place surrounded. The body was loaded into an ambulance, and for a good chunk of the night, police were in the warehouse doing forensic work. Perhaps the weirdest part of all of this was that when trying to go back to the video footage captured from the night before, the footage cut out for about 3 hours in the middle of the night.
I'm about to scare you out of it, you feel me? Yeah.
I thought about this night for almost my entire life, basically. I don't believe in ghosts or anything, but I don't really have an explanation for this. I've thought about some far-fetched possibilities, though, like that whoever the murderer was in the warehouse that night and was holding up the severed head of that body, hence why it looked so pale and ghoulish.
What the
In
fuck?
fact, it gave me chills.
Not the body, nigga. Not the body, nigga. Not the body. Man, oh my god, bro. Are you fucking serious? Nobody wanna see no ugly ass headphone, bro. Alright. Story 2.
Several years ago, 2 friends and I heard from a mutual friend about this creepy abandoned warehouse or furniture store that was only a few miles from my house. One night while on a drive, the 3 of us decided to check it out. We parked at a Walgreens a few hundred yards from the warehouse and started walking towards it. As we got closer, my friend, I'll call him Jim, kinda chickened out and stayed back while me and my other friend, I'll call Mark, continued on. As we approached the right side of the building, it became very obvious that this place had been abandoned for a very long time. The front entrance was boarded up, and there were vines and ivy growing all over the building. Our mutual friend said that the only way in was through a busted-in wall in the back. We went around back, and sure enough, there was a broken-in narrow section of wall we could get in through. We stepped in, and it was completely dark. We couldn't see our hands in front of our faces, so we turned on the flashlights on our phones and looked around. There was trash and debris everywhere on the concrete floors. We were in what appeared to be the main room of the old store, and it was huge. An entire football field could probably fit in this room. We could even hear an echo when we talked. We started looking along the walls, which were covered in graffiti. The graffiti was littered with what must have been gang symbols as well as profanity, as you would expect.
Actually, I changed my mind.
Really
We looking at
unsettling
one today.
that as we moved
Bro,
further
we gonna
along
do
the back
another
wall,
one
the graffiti was
later
getting
on.
more and more
Like,
disturbing.
Wanna make another video.
One of them read, "Kill yourself tonight," and the graffiti was getting satanic. There were tons of inverted crosses, pentagrams, 666s,
We're
and
gonna get one
violent
that
scenes depicted.
I'm gonna find one scary,
The stuff was
one
creepy,
scarier
but
for
it
y'all.
wasn't the worst of what we saw.
Cause this right here, this light
Inside
work.
the building,
You feel
there
me?
were some steps leading to
light work.
smaller rooms. As we shone our lights on the steps, we saw a large dry pool of what was probably blood all over the steps. This deterred us from exploring the
They
smaller
just
rooms
talking about
beyond, so we
motherfucking
headed to the
blood and
left side of the
motherfucking
room.
murder.
As we were walking, the
Nigga.
lights caught something hanging
fuck
from the
wrong with
ceiling. We got closer and saw what it was.
Dead ass.
It was a noose, still
Shit.
hanging from one of the rafters. It became very obvious that the people that come to this
That
place use it for
motherfucking
very
noose
evil
good.
purposes. After that, we decided we'd spend enough time in there and headed for the hole in the wall we entered
I
through.
saw the motherfucking news sitting in
Got outside
motherfucking
and
me.
saw that there was
In front of
another
me, nigga.
smaller building/warehouse behind the main one.
I hit the door.
Despite the freaky
I'm
things
hitting
we
the
saw
door, nigga.
inside, we were
hitting
still
the door.
curious and decided to check
I'm
this one
gone.
out too.
Fuck that, I'm out the door,
The thing that was
nigga.
very odd
We
was that there
gone.
was a small room in the front
not
of the
playing no
warehouse that had
games.
no doors, only
We
one
gone.
window. Inside was a large inverted cross hanging from the decrepit ceiling.
I'm out
We
today.
came to the left side of the warehouse where the large garage-style entrance
Straight
was.
up.
This building was similar to the first one. It was one large empty room with tons of trash everywhere. There was more disturbing graffiti. However, there were these holes at the base of the walls that were really odd looking. We shined our lights down them, but couldn't see the bottom. What were these for? We had seen enough at this point and headed back outside. It was then that my friend Mark got a call from Jim. As he was talking to Jim, his face suddenly changed to a downright horrified expression. I said, "What's wrong?" What he said next sent a chill down my spine. "Someone else is here," he said. Before we could even turn to run, a white truck peeled around the corner at an alarming speed, heading right towards us. We started booking it towards my car, and as we got around the other back corner of the building, we saw another black truck parked alongside.
And that nigga went,
And
boy.
thankfully,
Gone,
the three
nigga.
of us made it back to my car.
Stop playing.
We got in and peeled out of there. I don't know what those guys in the trucks were there for, or why they chased after us. But based on what we saw in those buildings, it wasn't anything good. Thankfully, we never found out, and we never returned to that place.
I wouldn't either, man. I don't want to be on that white boy shit. That
In my
white boy shit.
mid-20s, I used to be a party planner and event coordinator. I was basically in charge of throwing dope parties for this record label group. I'd have to rent out venues for a night or weekend, which would allow us to host our events in these places. Usually we wouldn't pay until after the event, and the landlord or owner of whatever property we were using would take a cut of the profits. There was this one time that my group rented this big warehouse for an entire weekend, and we would be hosting parties Friday and Saturday night. Once the place was rented out, I had to do a lot of setting up, which included setting up tables for bottle service, setting up portable bars, and a DJ stand. A lot of work would go into these kinds of pop-up venues, but they were always extremely profitable. My buddy Jack, who was also on the event planning team, was helping me on the Wednesday before the party weekend. He drove a truck full of equipment to the empty parking lot that the warehouse sat in. I was having trouble figuring out how to get the power to a certain part of the warehouse activated. I looked for any kind of electrical panel or circuit breaker box, but I was having trouble finding one. I gave the building owner I dealt with a call, and he picked up almost right away. His name's Carter. He told me exactly where to go for the electrical panel that would turn on the specific lights I was looking for. He directed me to a door that had an exit sign on top of it, but it wasn't on. Through this door, I was in a very short, very narrow space with a door on one side, which I presume led to the outside, and then a half flight of stairs on the other side. I was supposed to go down
out
this
of
half
there.
flight
Like I
of
said,
stairs,
I'm out of
which
there.
led to another tight
Fucking
space.
tell
with
him
a
I'm
half
out of there,
flight of
cuz.
stairs. This room
Stop
was hard
playing.
to
I'm
see
out of
without
there.
just seeing it for yourself. I'm 6'4", so I had to bend down a little bit just so my head wouldn't hit the ceiling. That's how cramped it was down there.
Okay.
This level had very dim nightlight kind of lights hung on the ceiling. Dim but enough light to navigate just fine. I found the electrical panel, and Carter
I
told
bet
me
you, bro. I
exactly
bet you
which
this nigga
switches
look
to
like
flip.
Johnny Test,
I
bro.
shut the panel door
I
and turned the
guarantee you
key
this
to
nigga
lock.
look like Johnny
He
Test,
told
bro.
me to just leave the key
How
in
much
the
y'all
lock.
wanna bet?
I thanked
That
him
nigga
and
look
all
like
ended.
Johnny Test. If he wasn't
A
real
loud
in
and
his
obvious
face, bro,
buzzing
nigga
sound
look
that
like
would be
Johnny
going off in
Test, bro.
spasms. I followed the sound of it to a door leading to a pitch-black room. Pulling the door open was hard as it scraped against the concrete floor.
Y'all wanna be like this or what?
Red light in the top corner of the
I could
room
be like
was
this.
synchronized with the buzzing sound. When the buzzing stopped, the light would also turn off. I was trying to figure out what it was, but it didn't make sense. I stepped deeper into the room and noticed whenever I moved, the light would turn on and the buzzing would sound.
I ain't too scared, man. I ain't even scared, to be honest with you.
I don't know why, but I was creeped out, so I went back to the doorway of the room. I took one more look inside, and the red light turned on again, lighting up the room with this eerie red glow.
I know y'all
I
wanna see me,
decided to
though.
call Carter and tell him about the potential problem with the light and the buzzing. He told me calmly that the light was a motion sensor, and the buzzing was because that one in the basement was busted. I asked what he meant by motion sensor, and he explained that there's at least one in every room in the building, as it's part of the security system. I looked back into the room, and the light was still on. I asked what could be setting it off in there. He said he had no idea. And that's when I spotted it. There was someone, I couldn't tell if it was a man or a woman because of the long disheveled hair, sitting in one corner of this room, half hidden behind a pile of old boxes. Their eyes were the most noticeable feature because of how goddamn wide they were open.
Oh,
Their mouth was like a
ta-da!
half
They
smile,
gotta go.
moving their arm in a manner that was as if to
The
tell me to come
motherfucking
here.
light, but yeah.
I know it took me a few seconds to describe this
So
person
yeah, I
just
won't
now.
be too
I
scared.
was
You
literally
ready?
screaming at the sight of them in under a second. I slammed that door shut and ran back up the stairs and out that exit door.
Slam the
I
door
told
shit.
Carter we
Ran
were
back
leaving and not
upstairs.
using the warehouse anymore. I didn't ask any more questions after that. I didn't care. It was his problem. I yelled at Jack to get everything he could back into the truck. We collected our stuff as quickly as possible, loaded the truck back up, and left. I didn't even bother locking the door to the warehouse. I just wanted to be far away from it. I still today don't know what to make of it. The Carter guy seems so weirdly calm about telling him about a deranged-looking person in the basement of his warehouse. Thinking back, my light was probably going off because of that person sitting in the corner waving me over.
I know this nigga didn't go to no warehouse, bro. This nigga gotta be lying, bro.
It was a truly
This
nightmare-inducing
nigga gotta be lying about a warehouse, my nigga. Hell nah, cuz. You won't see me in no damn warehouse by myself, cuz. You got me fucked up. Fucked up. This nigga got me fucked up. He got me fucked up. But alright, dog. We about to pause the video. Y'all already know. Like, comment, subscribe, man. What y'all want to see next, man. But y'all don't got to do that. Because I'm already, you know what I'm saying? I'm already looking for y'all. So yeah, I ain't got to worry about all that. You feel me? Alright, so look. Like I said, once again, man. Stay motivated. Stay positive. And man, I'm here for y'all, man. I'm always gonna be here to help people out, bro. Anywhere it go, bro. Cause I'm gonna always be that one real good person, man. That one real nigga, man. I'm a real nigga, bro. You feel me? So yeah, man. Y'all go follow my Instagram, man. Stay tuned for more bangers, man. You already know what it do, man. And I'm over here messing with his junk. But y'all stay prayed up, man. Stay blessed, stay safe. And yeah, we out of here. YC Gang on top, man. Let's go. Peace out.